We on? Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of the South Russell Planning Commission to order. Ruth, did you get a roll call?
James Slays.
Here.
Mark Porter.
Here.
William Coons.
Here.
Elisa Buda. Here. Greg Kern.
Here. Okay. We have two sets of minutes. This is from the public hearing and then the regular planning commission meeting of June 20th, 2024. Are there any additions, corrections to the minutes? Have a motion to approve both sets?
So moved.
Second. Okay, roll call please.
James Slays.
Yes.
Mark Porter.
Yes.
William Coons.
Yes.
Elisa Buda.
Yes.
Greg Kern.
Yes. Great job as always on those, Ruth. Thank you. Okay, agenda item number 1, PC case number 24-10. This is 1194 Bell Road. Ms. Michelle Bissler is seeking approval to operate a CPA and accountant services business at the property located at 1194 Bell Road, which we can call the former Citizens Bank building, I believe, right? So who's here on behalf of that agenda item? And what's your name?
Michelle.
Oh, you're Michelle? Oh, okay. Well, welcome. So if you could just, I mean, it seems pretty self-explanatory, but sorry you have to jump through these hoops, but just tell us about your business and what you plan on doing over there.
Yeah, so my name is Michelle Bissler, and I'm a CPA and a certified financial planner. So I purchased that space with the expectation to move my practice in there. I'm currently located in Sugar Falls, on East Washington Street. So still doing the same thing, just getting my own office space. So, taxes, investments, all that stuff. So.
Our taxes are lower than Sugar Falls. So it's a good decision.
But they're not lower than Munson Township.
Well, what is, yeah.
That's good.
Okay. And then how many employees do you anticipate?
Right now, it's just me.
Oh, okay.
I'm hoping to get an admin in, and then another tax or CPA person, so plans to grow.
Okay. I think that is a perfect fit for that building because it's a kind of an odd space, but
We're trying to figure out what to do with the vault, with the money vault, because clearly you can't move it, so, make something kind of cute out of it. We'll see.
Is that where all the secrets go?
Yeah.
okay, well, thank you. Does anybody have any questions or concerns?
Michelle, are you surrounded on 3 sides by easements? As for the property, I'm thinking of all the traffic that's gonna go around you.
Yeah, I know that is, I don't know where the easements are exactly, but yes, they do have the right to use that parking lot as a throughway, so.
Any concerns, Dave, or?
No, none at all.
I mean, you can walk to Augie's and Sleepy Rooster. That's a huge plus.
I
Okay. Anything else?
So you need to
Can you-
approve it?
Yeah. Is there, anybody want to make a
Move it,
Bill?
I had a quick, can you, sublease to, say, a lawyer or chiropractor?
So I have a securities license, so in order for me to do that, I would have to go through the process of subdividing the space in such a way that they had separate entrances. So realistically, I probably would not do that, just because it's more work than it's worth. So
Yeah.
if I got somebody in there, they would also be backed by my broker dealer, we have to go through background checks and all that. So no, the plan would not be to sublease that.
Who do you clear through?
LPL Financial.
Do you have your 7 or 6?
I have my 7, and my 65. To do that?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
lucky.
Okay. Yeah, and if she did do that, they'd have to come, I mean, if if a lawyer wanted to get in there, then they'd have to come back through here.
Yeah.
Because it'd
I
be
have
a
one more
different,
question.
Whoever goes in, goes to planning commission.
yeah.
Do you do insurance?
I do taxes, investments, and insurance.
Okay, now, is there any issue with insurance, like life and health, or do you do P&C too?
I'm life and health and accident, but I do very limited. Typically, it's a few term insurance policies a year.
Okay.
And I don't typically advertise that. It's just as an add-on service for people that may want
I didn't know with having an insurance company over here if that was any issue at all.
No. Anything else? Okay, we have a motion to approve from Mr. Porter. Is there a second?
I will second.
Okay, roll call, please.
James Spice.
Yes.
Mark Porter.
Yes.
William Coontz.
Yes.
Elisa Buda.
Yes.
Greg Brown.
Yes. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thanks. You're welcome to stay and watch the rest of this, or you can be on your merry way. It's up
This is like first and done.
to you. We try to put the easy ones first. And not do this. Okay. Agenda item number 2, PC case number 24-11. This is 524 East Washington Street. Miss Madeline Prosek, owner of Chalk It Up Gymnastics at 524 East Washington Street, is seeking permission to park a former school bus in the rear of the property. Who's here on behalf of that item?
I am. My name is Mindy Mackin. I am Madeline's mother.
Okay.
But I also work at Chalk It Up Gymnastics as the manager of the gym. So we call it the tumble bus. The tumble bus is used to go around to preschools and also regular schools in the area to help, promote gymnastics. A lot of children might not be able to come to an actual gym to experience gymnastics due to maybe parents' work schedules or, not being able to afford gymnastics. So we want to be able to offer to all of the children in the community so that therefore they are able to experience it just like ones who would actually come into the gym. So therefore we create this tumble bus and we, put our equipment in there. It's all padded. It is certified equipment that is purchased through, our company. We are insured to do this, and we would rotate the equipment so it's not the same equipment that we would be having in the bus. So when the bus is not in use, it is stored in the back of our parking lot.
So it's not just a bus to bring students to a facility, they actually do things in the bus?
Correct. There is no students that we drive around.
Okay.
It is the bus we take to the schools, and then the students come onto the bus. So they'll never actually, we will not be driving.
So you're not transporting people? Okay.
No, it's just, we go to different, schools, or it even could be like, Kenston. Our girls went to Kenston before we did some performances there. So this time we might bring our tumble bus to Kenston and they could, experience, the tumble bus instead of just the girls performing there. They could also perform, but we could also have the tumble bus there as well.
I'm guessing there's no seats in this bus?
There is no seats.
Okay, it's just a bunch of padding and,
Yes, all the seats are taken out, there's flooring that's put in the bus. There is also, it's like, when you go into a gym and you have a spring floor, it is kind of like padded like that. There's kind of like a spring floor that's on the bottom and the walls are all padding. And then there's different kinds of equipment that are in there. There's a climbing rope, there's a climbing wall, there's a bar system. Just everything kind of rotates at a different time. You do lesson planning also, so it's not the same.
so it's you bringing the activities to them.
Correct.
What is it? Like classified? Is it a vehicle? Or is it?
I mean, I drive it out for bachelor parties. It sounds like a great time.
But I'm like, what, like?
It's a large school bus. It was just a school bus that we had turned into, it's, I don't know how to describe it, it's a tumble bus.
If it was just a vehicle bus, like a really large, would this be similar to like you can't park your RV in your driveway? They do like-
Well, yeah, I was gonna ask Dave about that. I mean, so they're coming for us because we don't allow like commercial vehicle storage back there. Is that what?
Well, it was just in addition to the business, and I thought planning commission should hear it because it is parked back there. And planning commission give approval or denial on it. I thought it'd be a good idea for you to say yes or no. Because it is back there and there's some question asked about it, so let you make the decisions.
Yeah, I guess I didn't realize, if like Precious Cargo was gonna park 20 buses back there, maybe that would be an issue, but, when we got storage containers, we let go back there. And it's just one bus, right?
It's one bus and there's probably about, I would say 50 unit things that are parked back there. And when we first started renting there, before those units came in there, that was supposed to be, the one side was supposed to be Chalk It Up's parking lot and where the bus is actually physically parked. We are parked in the spot where we were supposed to have as parking.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, how many of those are, it's starting to look like a container ship back there.
Oh,
It is.
yeah, yeah.
How many are back there?
That'd be very
I'm
good.
not even kidding when I say 50, they're probably.
How high are they stacking them?
The fire inspector keeps an eye on it because it only goes, supposed to be stacked so high.
Okay.
He does a good job. And the owner of the property maintains them very well as far as how far you can stack them, how high you can stack them.
Okay.
He complies very well.
Okay. Bill, you have any questions?
Looking into this, first when I first heard about this, I thought this is not a good idea. And then you start researching it, you weren't the first ones to come up with it. And I talked to a few other people. He talked about his son climbing through bars through the top of at his school. And I happened to see you nod. Have you heard of this before, Doctor?
No, I haven't.
But it's just like,
I have.
okay, yeah,
My daughter goes to a daycare Papillon in Chesterland, and they have the bus that goes there. I mean, it's not the same bus, obviously, but it's the same idea. And they love it. It's absolutely amazing for the children.
So it's kind of a bouncy house on wheels?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They do different things in there, but yeah.
it's pretty neat.
This might be a fall festival idea.
It's actually not a bad idea.
I mean,
Bring that tumble bus up there.
you know.
Any other questions or
Are there
concerns?
any, Dave, are there any other
Yeah.
uses or restrictions for that space? I mean, what normally is that space
normally it's
used
just for storage.
Okay.
Storage containers, yeah.
It's
It's
not
part of the
taking up
business.
anyone's space. Oh, how about winter? Is there a snowplow issue at all?
If anyone's taking it, they're starting to take over her space.
Okay.
They're getting more and more containers back there.
I like it. I
Any
move to
other-
approve.
Okay, motion to approve.
I move. Second.
Well,
It doesn't
Okay.
matter.
move, we're gonna do move, Greg second. How about that?
Being-
Sounds good. They beat you. Okay, any further discussion? Roll call, please.
James Place.
Yes.
Mark Porter.
Yes.
William Coons.
Yes.
Elise Rudolph.
Yes.
Rachel.
Yes.
Before you leave, I want to officially say thank you for helping out with our 100th birthday party last year. The fact that your kids were in the Blossom Time Parade, it was really nice, and I think they enjoyed it. And
Oh, they did. Thank you
For
for
having-
inviting us.
when to see that many kids show up and see how they're structured, I mean, they're very under control considering all the things they were doing. So thanks again for what you did last year.
Yeah, you guys are
Enjoyed it.
great business
Thank you
for
very
the
much.
village. Okay, thank you. Again, welcome to stay or you can run out of here. It's up to you.
Stay for a little bit.
Okay. Okay, next up is agenda item number 3, PC case number 24-12, 255 Park Place, Ms. Ariana
Yes.
Lucas, owner of the property located at 255 Park Place, is seeking approval to operate a permanent makeup salon called Blade and Shade Beauty Bar. So,
Yeah,
the
that's
floor is yours.
Yeah, it's basically just cosmetic tattooing. No tattoos, just cosmetic tattooing, brows, lips, lash line enhancement, that kind of stuff.
Have
Okay,
you ever had people ask for you to do tattoos?
No, I am not trying to do tattoos at all, no.
Are you also involved, or do people come to you that's had severe burns or scars that they're looking to cosmetically hide burns or scars?
I haven't had anybody because I haven't started working, but I do specialize in scar camouflage, like stretch marks or C-section scars. But yeah, that is something that people can ask for.
Okay.
So how do you do that? Because I was thinking, when you said cosmetic, I'm thinking eyebrows, eyeliner, lip lines. how do you do a C-section? Like, what do you do? Is it flesh tattoo? Or how do you, with the C-section?
It's just little pixels that go into the skin and
Okay.
ink.
So it's not.
So you
the
have
whole
to
rose
match
over
the
it.
skin
Yeah.
color to the ink and then you just do little pixels.
Okay.
But it requires more than one session.
Mhm.
All of them require more than one session.
The usual question, parking, do you foresee any, there's a lot of offices there's a lot of parking.
Mm,
Do you foresee any issues?
no,
You will not have,
there is an HOA there as well.
Yeah.
So, no, not at all.
you will not have assigned parking spaces, it's that whole,
No,
Free
no,
area.
doesn't mailbox is assigned, no parking space.
And
okay.
you're by appointment only?
Well, I haven't started
Yeah.
yet, because I need to get approval from you and then go to the health department, so, baby steps.
Right, yes, but when you open, people just don't walk in, it's a.
No, to be by appointment, yes,
Is it just you?
yes.
Any employees or?
No.
Okay.
no, Not at this time, but I am considering to maybe be teaching a class, however, I would have to have 6 months of experience to do that. So that's just something down the line that I could potentially do, but I may not do it, I'm not really sure on that one, but for right now, it would be just me.
I feel like that's the only place down there we don't have a parking problem.
You're right there. You're right, I was there a couple days this week.
Yeah, they're doing a good, I don't know what's going on over there, but it's always a lot of parking.
How large is the space?
600 square feet, 610, I believe, to be exact.
Yeah, I've been in a bunch, there's a bunch of just single offices in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know we've approved at least 2 other.
Yeah.
I feel like there's one over here, right? In this
Off the
back.
road, before
Yeah.
it's separate, yes.
Okay, and then I felt like there was another one down on East Washington at one point, but. Okay. Any other questions or concerns from anyone?
Move to approve.
It's a motion, is there a second?
I will second.
Okay, the move seconded, any further discussion? Roll call, please.
James Blaze.
Yes.
Mark Porter.
Yes.
William Coombs.
Yes.
Elisa Buda.
Yes.
Greg Brown.
Yes.
Thank you so much, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, good luck.
Well, I'm gonna need actually, I have 3 little ones, so.
No. We're not offended.
I appreciate your time.
Oops. Okay, agenda item number 4, PC case number 24-06A, 576 Industrial Parkway, That Hawaiian Guys Barbecue. This matter was tabled at the meeting that was held on June 20th, 2024. Ms. Rachel Sherry, owner of That Hawaiian Guys Barbecue, seeking permission to review, it says review the discussion, but review the planning commission approval that did not permit carryout operations, to review that, to allow carryout operations from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 576 Industrial Park. So, who's here on behalf of that? Okay. So we didn't receive anything. Did we receive anything additional in favor of it?
No.
No. So we didn't receive any additional items since our last meeting. So do you have anything additional you wanted to present or say?
As far as I understand, it's not a public hearing at this point, it's a discussion, correct? Okay.
I mean, it's a public meeting, so there, we'll ask if there's any public comment regarding the application or anybody else that wants to weigh in on it. But it's a continuation of our review for to modify our previous approval for that business. So is there anything additional you have?
Yeah, I would just say that I know after reviewing the video that there were some questions about why we would want to do it. And one of the things that I thought was important to bring attention to is, as I said before, our business is a catering company. That is what we strive to be and continue to be, and that is the focus of our business. That is where our money comes from. However, we do farmers markets, we do things like that, where we're actually not making a lot of money doing those things, but it is a great way to get our food out to the public. And it is like a marketing tool. And that's what we're looking to carry out, and why I say, it's not, no, it is not our bread and butter. It's not something we expect to derive a lot of money from necessarily, but it is a means to get our food out to the public, which is why we would be very restrictive in the amount that we would want to serve, and why we're trying to be flexible with, it's really any time of the day, or, I did ask 11 to 3, but if dinner would be better. I'm trying to be as collaborative as possible. And so I just wanted to clarify that it is.
What days of the week do you want to do it?
Public.
Is it
Sorry.
all, every day of the week, or?
No, we're actually incredibly, the bulk of our business is on Fridays and Saturdays. We can't fit anything else in. We're booked, we're working from, 5 in the morning sometimes till 10 at night, So we wouldn't be able to do it then. We would like to try to spread out the way that we make our money from the weekend to maybe slower days for us, which almost no revenue is coming in Monday through Thursday. So we were gonna try to, do a few free lunches. Again, we're not trying to create a lot of traffic back there. This is not our business model. We are just looking to be able to offer this to people to try our food. Maybe they are going to consider us for catering. If you look us down the line, the nature of our food is that people aren't really familiar with Hawaiian food necessarily. So when I say we have grilled chili chicken, they are like, well, what is that? This would be an opportunity for them to get a plate lunch from us and try it.
Okay, thank you. Dave, I guess I wanted to ask, one of the issues came up last time, the fence. So part of the previous approval, Greg caught that, part of the previous approval required them installing a fence from, I think, the corner of the building to the smoker. What's the status of that?
Jim, I met with her, and she is going to come in and get a fence permit, and she's gonna take care of it, we'll discuss the style of fence, maybe a 4-foot cyclone fence up there, from the building to the cooker. She agreed to it, the woman agreed to it, the owner.
Okay. And then, I guess, are there any other, we did receive a pretty comprehensive packet from Chagrin Osteopathic, outlining with a lot of photos and a lot of other information. And I know, Doctor, you're here, but before I give you an opportunity to talk, Dave, did you look at that? Did you see that packet?
I did.
So I guess, there was one of the things that I was looking at in there that I didn't really think about, our parking requirements, none of the spaces are marked. So, how many parking spaces are really there? I know that when talking about what our requirements are for parking and what's there, or you can kind of determine what's there because it's not marked. And I think there were some interesting points raised here about, given the ingress and egress, can you really do perpendicular parking down that drive? Is that something that we'd allow? And I know we're going to talk about maybe beefing up or refining our parking regulations later, but where are we at with parking?
Jim and I had discussions with our solicitor, Bridie, and we are working on something I'm going to bring it up in a new business later about cleaning up our parking, our striping, dimensions of the lots, and that's something that's going to be brought up a little later. The planning commission to go ahead and give us the okay to start moving out on it. It's a planning commission decision, so Bridie agreed that we should do something with it, and I agree too. We should do something.
Yeah, I guess one of the things, and this was just me talking, but one of the things when I looked at this, we're always talking about parking and how many employees you have and how many parking spots you're using. I mean, maybe before we decide this, we should tell Living Lane they got to strike the parking lot. I mean, we got to see how many parking spots are there.
That's number one.
Okay. I mean, but I don't know if we should even be considering this if we don't know how much parking's there because it's not marked.
Based on the distance, Dave, I know there's 4 right in front. I went there the day after, and there is room legit for 4, so you can move the smoker. So is there room for 40 along that line? Because the way it was advertised, it was 44 spots.
Wait, what are we talking about? Living, I wanna know which building we're talking about.
The living league.
Okay, so-
This.
And the way it was advertised by.
But one day we needed the screens.
Right, I know.
It's your argument is there aren't 24 spots.
But I just wanna clarify, it's not that South Russell put that out there as that's how many spots.
No.
It was a realtor.
Right, because I was looking actually at the zoning code a while ago and I saw the thing where if they're each a third in that building, each one of them takes up plus or minus 2,000 square feet, which would put them in the 2,000 to 3,000 square feet, so probably 12 spots per place, which would be 36, maybe 39 spots. So the way I'm looking at it is are you allowed more than 4 spots there? You just put those on? Okay, so
That's self-imposed.
okay, so if they can define that by the square footage, if there can be 36 to 39 spots marked, I don't think parking's the problem. I think enforcing who parks where is the challenge. But there should be sufficient parking for each tenant. If that, am I making sense of that?
Yeah, I guess, I don't understand, again, without getting out there and figuring out, I mean, when you're doing parking, the fire marshal, our fire, what do we call him now? Is he still the fire prevention officer?
Yes.
Okay, so, he's gonna look at a parking plan and he's gonna have his own comments. But I just don't know if the fire department would allow perpendicular parking. So you've got the living lean building here, and then you have the building you're in here, and they own the whole drive, right? The living lean building, right up to the wall it's almost the wall of your building. So, I mean, I guess one of the issues when I went back there is if you are parking, and I've seen cars park all different ways, parallel along that wall, head in along the wall.
Facing 477. So
Your building.
Facing our building, but it's 4.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, if you did have spaces facing 477, which is where they probably get the bulk of their spaces, I don't know, I mean, I don't know if our fire prevention officer, he'd have to look at that because, I don't know where you could get in and out of there.
You know what, Jim, that would have to go in front of our engineer. They calculate the turning radiuses, the parking areas, the width of the lot, the width of the parking spaces. So when everything's submitted like that, it's gonna go in front of our engineer to say, okay, we got the right radius, we got the right turning ability, we got the right area. That'll go to our engineer.
Yeah, and I just feel like we should make the building owner a living lien do that.
Stripe it.
But hey, you need to get a parking plan, you need to get it approved by the engineer, the fire prevention officer, the building commissioner. And then, once they approve it, you need to stripe it so we can figure out how many spaces are available for that building.
Would that plan have to come before planning commission?
Well, I think once it's striped, I think it would come before planning commission, and then we would start going through the process of, okay, here's who's in the building, and here's how much parking each of them should have. Because my recollection is that you have 4 employees,
Yeah, Jim,
right? And they technically only have 4 spaces that are theirs.
me and Brady are looking at is redoing that because of the square footage of the buildings and how many employees or some 3,000 square foot, it's got 2 employees. And we're requiring 8 parking places. So we're working on that. It's gonna be a motion that I'm gonna ask you to make tonight to review our parking areas, our striping, and the square footage of the parking, like, 6,000 square foot, 2,000. I think there's some things that have to be corrected.
Yeah, and the nature of the business is,
Right.
if you're the salvage place and you've got, or the new Nature Pedic,
Yeah, but
that's just a bunch of stuff, there's 1 employee in there.
They have 2,000 square foot because it's a commercial kitchen. And according to this, they have to have 12 spots. They don't want to have 12 people coming every 10 minutes to pick up food. So it's the majority, I've been in there, it's a huge kitchen. You couldn't make it a restaurant if you wanted to.
If they don't want to.
Yeah,
Just
But
without.
they have employees too, who are servicing the people, so you have to include the employees and the people coming in the cafeteria. So 12 spots is just giving a buffer for,
How many people are on your payroll?
Technically none.
Well, it's the two of you.
Yeah.
And the folks come in and help out occasionally.
Yeah.
And we have them actually parking in the back, and it's
Yeah.
all communal again. So,
But yeah, all our employees and actually our family members now park behind the meeting. So they're not even in that main driveway that you guys are from.
All the way in the back?
All the way to that.
Aren't those striped?
no, nothing is striped.
There's just like, yeah.
It's-
No straight.
It's like
It's
faded.
faded,
It's
okay.
faded.
It's faded, but they are striped.
Oh, yeah, I drove back there, didn't notice anything in the back.
Really faded.
Way in the back of the
Notice it
tiny
either?
window.
Yes.
It was not discernible by me driving through the parking
I
lot.
saw it. I mean, it was definitely faded. Okay.
So, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry, yeah, go ahead, Spot.
No, I was
Let me
just-
get Friday what,
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, currently we do not have a striping requirement. That is something that we need to definitely address.
but as part of our review, I mean, couldn't we have them, hey, you gotta stripe all these spots and come up with a plan that's approved by everybody, and then come back to us so that we can discern whether
Yes,
we're going to approve this?
correct.
Because, I didn't see anything striped, but I mean, I didn't get out of my car, I just did a circle in the back, but,
Right.
but I don't know that the way back is the problem necessarily. I'm more concerned about
The alleyway.
yeah, because I don't know if the engineer and the fire prevention officer would allow that perpendicular parking along that drive, because it's not that wide.
Probably not. But I don't know.
But I don't know, that's what I want to, I feel like we need to have that information before we start
I agree with you.
debating this.
I agree, we need that parking lot completely striped, and the square footage of well, we've got that, with the occupant load and, type of businesses, but we need our engineer to say, okay, we've got a turning radius. He's done it before in most of the commercial buildings here, including nursing home, assisted living up the street. Well, we calculated parking areas, the turning radiuses, everything. Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a whole discussion about the takeout and the traffic and the location, and I think a lot of us expressed our opinions on that last time, but I think separate and apart for that, there's just this threshold issue of, we need to get a handle on how many parking spaces are back there and what the layout is permitted to be, because it seems like it's a free-for-all. There's photos presented here of cars parking every which way, usually against your building, but not always, sometimes against the other building, sometimes perpendicular, sometimes parallel. I mean, I'm getting the sense that because there is no striping, the people are just parking their cars wherever.
And there aren't any no parking signs either. And we could even park along that fence.
we did put up no parking signs there.
Okay, on the fence
We
line,
talked to,
that's new.
what's his name that owns the buildings up there? Tom?
Mark,
Got chocolate.
but he owns the road.
His brother-in-law, I believe, owns that piece, so I talked to him, he was like.
Behind the gate.
Yeah.
There's like a farm,
Yeah.
like a little farm,
Mhm.
yeah. So we added, he was like, I've been wanting to do that forever, because people, we saw one today, just walk right into osteopathic this morning, just parked right there, so. Really.
And what it is for
Great.
the trucks coming in and out of that gate, it's a hazard, so.
Right.
That's why we were talking about it, because we totally agree with you guys.
Yeah.
Customer, employee, anybody going back there, their safety is our number one concern. And the way we want to set this up, and I'm pretty sure you've already been over this, is we don't want any overflow past the four stalls in front of us. Like, we're literally gonna make it impossible for people to just pull in and order. Like, everything has to go online, and there's a cap. We're gonna say, okay, look, one order every 10 minutes. So that way, if people pull in, they text us they're there, we give them their food, they leave, And the type of volume I feel like you guys are discussing is literally impossible with our setup. we can't purchase or cook that much food to generate that kind of sales, to create that kind of volume. So it's literally impossible on our best day to clog that parking lot. In addition to that, again, the safety thing, we don't want that traffic any more than you guys do. We literally are just like, hey, we're slow on these days, these times. Let's get a few people in here. Also, people have said, hey, we want to try your food, but we can't make it to your pop-ups. So it's, in our mind, it's minimal. We're going to do everything we can to keep it at that minimum because we respect our neighbors. We don't want anything overflowing or impeding anybody else's businesses. And again, we agree, we want to keep that traffic back there to a safe minimum so everybody back there is okay.
Doctor, did you want
I
to?
appreciate that. What I'd say is that while you guys are discussing all the parking spaces at 576, right now, Orthosport has put up their own parking spots, so they've already identified that they need parking spots. So Orthosport has already designated stuff. And even if you do, here's the bill that we're putting to, that even if you come up with and strike out all living meat, those parking spots are not vulnerable to potential services. It's the people coming in, so even if they come, so if you have some people who are running a little bit late to pick up their food, and some people who are a little bit early to pick up their food, eventually you could have a backlog, and our parking spots at 467 in the front, they're the ones that are vulnerable to somebody pulling in that's from wanting barbecue, because while you space that out, our concern is, as possible, that everything could be on time. But if somebody comes in too early or somebody comes in late, eventually there's a backup. And they're not going to turn into 576 because Orthosport put up all those signs there. Our spots right there at 477, which is what they pass, that's the vulnerable parking spots. So Living Lean and Orthosport really are not vulnerable to your daylight traffic. It's as much as 4776 is, and 477 is those fronts, and those are us in Suite A and Suite B for those patients. So that's what our concerns are.
I actually beg to differ because those spots are closest to us, so they are the most vulnerable. In addition to that, we've actually seen people park in the stalls in front of us who aren't our customers, and people park in front of Orthosport who aren't going to Orthosport. So those signs are kind of suggestions. They don't say tollway zone. They don't really put out strong deterrent. It's just like, hey, if you respect the sign, then please don't park here. But in addition to that, again, like you got 4 stalls, and then the overflow, like for that kind of traffic backup you're talking about, people would have to be 4 people, right? At least 4. They would all have to be lean, which I've been in this industry for over 25 years, and the odds of that happening with the ordering system put in place is almost impossible. In addition to that, we can happily hang out there when there's 4 stalls and look for people and just be like, hey, are you here for that My Guys Barbecue? Please go ahead and park in the back if it's that much of a concern. Because again, you don't want them parking in front of you any more than you want them parking in front of you. So, like, we're willing to make it work. It's just, we need an opportunity. And again, we can space out the ordering as far as you guys want. You guys can even come to our office and watch us put it in the system if you guys want.
That's not our, we want to be able to run our practice, my practice, the way that I don't have to worry at all about people parking. I mean, we have people from Orthosport and Living Lean parking our spot, you go there. So we know our parking spots are vulnerable to people at 576.
To the Orthosport and Living Lean because their parking spot is right by their doors, respectively. Your parking spots are closest to their doors.
Well, I don't want to, I don't want you guys arguing with each other. I mean, I think I made the point last time. Clearly, there's a parking problem because Orthosports felt it necessary to put up those signs.
I do need to interject there because I clarified that in the last meeting and I'll clarify it again. We collaboratively came up with that together with Orthosport.
We're great, at this point, good friends and speak to each other often. If I run into tonight and said, hey, Jen, clearly this isn't making sense to people and they think we're putting this up because they're, we need to, can we take these signs down? We should do it tomorrow. And we could do it to our spots tomorrow, it's such an issue.
It may be beneficial for the, Living Lean owns it, to, once they're marked their spot, identify it as parking for 576 only.
Yeah, we weren't, it's not that Ortho Sports needs 5 and we need 4, and we were just trying to make it look clean and nice, and we thought it was a good idea, and clearly it's, continues to be confusing.
Oh, I'm sorry, she's got her hand up there. Sure.
Hi, I'm Colin Shiretz, I'm the co-owner of Sugar Master Academy. It is, she is speaking for Ortho Sport. Ortho Sport knows there's a parking issue. That's why they put up the signs. There's a parking issue. They even looked at our building in Suite C, and they said, why would we move from one parking issue to another parking issue? If Ortho Sport was here, they would say, yes, there are parking issues at that building. You guys, we don't even know how many parking spots there are. Mark claims there's 44 in his real estate ad. When I went back there, because it's not marked, I went when Living Lean was full, so I was just parking out, I was counting how many people were parking, I didn't have a video of it, and there was 35 parking, cars parked. Now, in a marked parking spot, there's probably gonna be able to be more parking, but if it's unmarked, 35 cars. So they're at a 2.7 parking ratio, and you've put 4 businesses, and Ortho Sport is a medical clinic, which we share patients. We know for sure Ortho Sport thinks there's a parking issue. That's why they put up the signs. They're a medical clinic, so, they should have a vested interest in the safety of our shared patients. So I agree with you that you guys should first establish how many parking spots there actually are before you move forward with it. That should have been known before you even put 4 businesses in that building. So to then choose Carrie, and my sister owns the restaurant and my sister manages the restaurant. I showed them this, and it's not a good location for a carry-out business. They're gonna have to come in one way and go out the same way. That's a lot of traffic. And we're a medical clinic, Ortho Sport is a medical clinic, and and we haven't even established how many parking spots are actually at that building. So could you please do that before you say, make this decision?
Yeah, and just again, I agree with your point that maybe we should have done this before, force them to mark out the spots. But I would also tell you that when we approved this particular business, the planning commission at that time was unanimous, and that's why we put it as a condition that there would not be carry out, because we were worried about the traffic.
Yes.
And I'm still very worried about the
Yes.
traffic.
And we are as well.
But I don't know, I feel like we should have them mark the spots so we know what's going on and see if they're even allowed to do the type of, they should, like any other, parking circulation, the spots, the fire department should approve of it. I'm not sure you could get a fire truck back there if those are all parked up, heading, against their building. I think that stuff needs to be looked at. That's just my 2 cents, and we should require that and table this until that's completed and we can review it.
In your lease, are you allocated or promised a certain number of parking places?
And not that I can double check my lease, but it's always been that it's,
Yeah.
It's a free-for-all.
Yeah.
That's a shame that,
Sure. I think you're right. First of all, thank you for the packet of information. So I went down at 6 this morning and 6 at night. When they're parking parallel You could probably get a fire truck in there if you had to, but it would be very difficult. My worst case scenario was a big pile of snow in February and one of your patients comes in and they can't park and they walk a distance and they slip and fall. I'm trying to balance that out with trying to help a business I went to visit some of the other businesses back there. And you have a lot of support. You all have a lot of support. But when I hear the jeweler talk about CrossFit people running and the bikers who come at the same time, and you mentioned earlier, chalk it up has designated spots, but it really doesn't mean anything. And then I look at the calendar, we're back here in 2 weeks. I don't think in 2 weeks we can get enough information, but yeah, we got to get some information and try to balance out. You've been a nice business. I don't want to make life terrible for you for another type of business, but we have a lot of issues, and I think.
Doctor, how late is your practice typically open?
I'm not sure what, I can tell you, I don't think that should matter because it will change as we're trying to grow. We're from 9 in the morning until 6 at night.
Okay.
And we're trying to grow. And so my concern is just if anybody who's not part of 477 uses my parking spots,
Yeah.
then it interferes with my business, regardless of the timing.
It's just that the wine guys mentioned dinner at 6 o'clock, but if you're envisioning 9 to 6 and maybe 9 to 9 at some point because people get off work.
Yeah, actually, I want to correct you, ICP still until late, and we stay later.
You each have your own patients.
He's an alcoholic.
And there's a guy next to us who's a fitness trainer who has up to 4 people at a time. So.
Yeah, dinner time is actually pretty busy there because then all of the gyms also have their classes. And I included that Mark, who owns their building, has allowed up to 25 people in his class size. So if he ever gets up to that many people, there's basically inevitable overflow into our parking. There's nowhere for them to go.
And Mark, the application's to do the carry out from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. So.
Understood, but they had mentioned dinner. Maybe there was a compromise, but the work schedules are conflicting, the people are arriving at the same time. So maybe there isn't a compromise there, but I think you're right, Jim, that the space is available, clearly marked, so we know what we're dealing with and who has what and this sort of thing. We want all your businesses to succeed.
And our owner will not allow for signs to be put that says only for 477, so we don't even have capacity. So even if it's a possibility, I understand that you're familiar with traffic, I'm familiar with traffic, because I have patients who come in at 30, 45 minutes in an hour. I have people who run late, I had a person who ran late today because of the bridge down there.
Yeah.
And so their lateness will happen, so when you have people coming and going who arrive late and some may arrive early, that will create a traffic dilemma, and because they all, 100% of all your traffic will pass the front 6 parking spots of mine, which is the main entrance for me. And none of them technically pass. They have to do a 180 degree turn to park into Ortho Sports spot, even if those spots are there. Our spots will look the most appetizing, literally, if there's no parking spot in front of the Hawaiian barbecue. If somebody's trying to back out, then that becomes an issue. So there's a lot of traffic congestion that will occur right in front of my parking spot.
Are your parking spots identified in your lease, or they just happen to be in front of your door?
It's the same thing, it's a free-for-all, it's basically.
Okay, so they're the spots that are closest to your entrance.
Yeah, they're the closest, ones closest to our entrance that are the most obvious, and then there are side ones, but but those parking spots are for 477 tenants and for people who are going to do the businesses of 477. So while I would wish that some of the other businesses in the park closer to somewhere else, because those front spots are very enticing because they're so convenient to leave.
And the other problem we have in our building is the same scenario. It used to be industrial light business, and our owner is putting in a lot of personal service businesses. So our building is tight on parking as well. So we're getting it from both sides, so we have to have those parking spots. So this is a whole nother conversation, because our owner is gonna be trying to put in a business at Sweet Sea, and that's how we knew about this situation, that they were trying to make carry out, because we're very invested in figuring out if you're gonna allow another personal service business in our building, which the parking is at a ratio of 2.5.
So we didn't look at the parking for your building in this discussion. Do any of the clients of any of the businesses in your building go and park in the spaces?
Yes, yeah, because
So-
the public doesn't know, they come to the building.
So
You think they're going in there?
Is that why Ortho Sport put the signs up?
Yeah.
So there are clients from the businesses in your building that are going into the spaces that
Yeah.
don't belong to your building.
Well, I've seen two of my clients, one of them is also an Ortho Sport patient, so I had to tell her, you don't park over there when you come to see us, you have to park in our parking spots when you come and see us, because she sees Ortho Sport as well as us.
So this is a problem that isn't unilateral. This is a problem that's bilateral in terms of,
And it creates a problem, and it supports the idea that adding a carryout where there's constant new people coming to a space, it is gonna be a bigger problem. And we've been in this space for 2 years, and this has been an ongoing problem. They're coming in 3 months, being here 3 months, saying it's not a problem, and we're trying to say it's absolutely a problem. Ortho Sport knows it's a problem. They're trying to say, no, this is not gonna be a problem. It's a problem all around.
Well, let's do this. So we're dealing with 576 Industrial Parkway. So I would make a motion to table the application until 576 Industrial Parkway develops a parking layout and traffic circulation plan that's approved by the building commissioner, the fire prevention officer, and the village engineer. And then, once approved, those spaces are striped at 576 Industrial Parkway.
Second.
Yeah.
Okay. It's moved and seconded. I think Mark beat you though.
That's fine.
Any further discussion?
It's a good idea, Jim.
I think it's a good solution.
Let's get some data.
And when they come for their building, for this other suite, we'll make them do it too. We'll go one at a time if we
We
have.
have works parking.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. There's no further discussion. Roll call, please.
James Place.
Yes.
Mark Porter.
Yes.
William Coontz.
Yes.
Elisa Rudolph.
Yes.
Greg Bird.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So, all these parking discussions, are a few thoughts to my mind. So my space, there's 13 spaces between my building and the yellow strip, and then the stuff on the side. Do I need to have that like restriped?
Del, are you from Youngstown?
No.
I thought that's what people call a double strip.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we call it that in Akron.
Oh, you do? Okay.
It's like double strip.
That's what that guy over here in Youngstown people call it that.
This is how she's from Pittsburgh.
I'm from Cleveland, it's a tree lawn, but, so the,
So do I have to just, it's already.
well, it's marked, you're fine. Yeah,
But my stuff is not what I'm worried about, it's the easement, or where they have the, like the stuff that the drive-through used to be. Do I just restripe over that, or do I have to go back through?
well, what do you mean restripe? Are you adding parking or?
No, I'm worried about the people that have the ability to go through to, say,
Oh, yeah.
Rooster and to Augie's, because they have to be allowed to use that.
Yeah, I don't know
There's
who's,
markings there.
who's responsible for that striping? Has the bank always done that?
Very always done it, yeah. That's something we're gonna talk about, Jim, about redo on
Okay.
it. Let's try to do it.
You're leasing the building, you didn't buy it?
No, I purchased.
Oh, did you? Okay, so you own the building.
Yeah, so again, my people, I'm not worried about there being traffic issues because they're gonna be parked right in front.
Mhm.
But I was worried about the striping on the sides.
Yeah.
Do I maintain that? Or-
I think we've just had an arrow, because there's been an entrance and exit, right? There's
Yes.
arrows.
And the parking places that she has, right not conform to our ordinance for type of business. So,
Okay. But the stuff like when you get to the exit or the entrance there, do I do that as well? Like there is more marking on the sides.
yes,
I do that?
well, after they decide what they want to do with the parking issues. But you have no parking where you're at. I looked at it today, took the square footage, so you should be good with your business and type of parking.
Okay.
Our parking issues are because the buildings used to be industrial, light business, and they're putting all of these personal service, retail type businesses in these spaces, and there's no parking.
But that's not my question. My question has to do with the sides. Because if you sit in that building, people are racing back and forth. So I just didn't know if I had to mark.
I don't think they ever had markings on the side of the building. There were a couple arrows going in and out, which
That's right.
are pretty much
Yeah.
ignored anymore.
That's all they
The
are.
only striping is really against the concrete, and then you're,
Yeah. And right directly in front of your front door there.
And you had a do not enter sign somewhere, as I recall.
Yeah, because I think the drive-through
Mhm.
might have been, but I don't think there's an
Right.
in and an out there. That's why I didn't know if I had to worry about it.
Nobody pays attention to those. It's so aggravating for me when people turn left out of the right-hand lane and stuff. I'm like, I still don't.
I think you're good. Dave will tell you if you need to do something, but I think you're good.
Yeah, well, that's my question. Should there be an in and an out? Because again, it's just chaos.
Well, I think owning it, that would be your discretion.
Well, there's an easement, but it was set up that the driveway closer to 306 was an exit because that's where the drive-through was.
Right.
And then the driveway further west was the entrance only. But that was because of the drive-through and the ATM. Because the drive-through was in the back and then the ATM was on the side. So those aren't there anymore. Since the bank's been gone, I've been seeing a lot of two-way traffic in the east driveway, which if you can accommodate, I mean, it's wide enough for that.
Safer too, you go around that blind corner on
Yeah.
the western
I
side.
still go in the entrance only, just because I'm used to it, but you're right, it's, but just put a nice sign up, you can get a lot of traffic that'll see your business, so.
Okay,
Thank you. Okay, any, old business? Okay, new business, parking space regulations.
we're looking for, basically you want to give someone, us to give you a motion to get this going.
I thought you would get it going with driving,
It would
get something
be,
going.
yeah, it would be to initiate an amendment, right?
So what do you see the pitfalls that we have, like the size of the spaces?
Yeah, but of course, now I just looked at the definition of parking space, and it is 9 feet wide.
Yeah, 180 square feet is
Right,
what they claim.
right.
And which is normal, I looked in the state of Ohio regulations, and that is a normal square footage of parking area. But I think what I'm looking for is planning commission approved Brady to say, okay, we're gonna strike not just all the parking lots, all the commercial lots, let's strike them all the way they're supposed to be. Park Place is pretty well striped, Industrial Parkway, we've got a little issues down there.
Got a lot of
That's what I'm
issues.
looking for, something, tell Brady to go ahead and let's get going.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of suggested before, we could start at least, we could start requiring, just like we just required for 576. In the doctor's building, it sounds like another business might try to move
Right,
in.
okay.
I would be amenable to doing the same thing to them. Hey, okay, you want to have a new business landlord? Let's strike your spaces and clean this up. So I don't, but I think we should be, again, we've talked about it with Burntwood, we've talked about it with a lot of those businesses. I mean, we, remember all that goofy parking we added by the music place?
Oh, yeah.
In that little area, just because we were so, we're like a victim of our own success here. So,
Industrial Parkway's got their issues with parking, as we all talked about today, you know?
yeah,
And that's something we've got to look at, but I don't think we could just single out one development. We've got to make it generic through the whole village here and say, hey, we're going to stretch our parking lots. But then we would know what's going, property owner could come in and say, we got a tenant coming in, and he usually brings me in a parking plan. But it's been quite a while since we went back to actually check parking plans, you know?
Well, and we should have a requirement that, the village upon, notification, you know, if it's faded or they've asphalted, yeah, you gotta restripe it. Because apparently Bill and I both missed a striping by Living Lean, so.
It's fake.
I don't think it's there.
I don't know, I saw it.
Oh,
Maybe, I don't know.
You're
when I
younger.
saw it, right? It was today.
Well,
I analyzed it, so maybe it's why I said it.
Maybe you wanted to see it there.
But I mean, there's some things in our regulations, like curbs are supposed to be there. I mean, how are we gonna do curbs if we're doing perpendicular against, a building? That might be tough. That's why I feel like the.
Well, that's like Brentwood up against Lopez.
Well, you can't start requiring curbing because we don't have storm sewers back there. I mean, it'd be a mess.
Yeah.
I mean, it just.
And then some of the pictures actually that you submitted, there's some parking that is against that fence. The one that is you're coming in and there's 477, right? And that's not at all a dedicated
It's not
spot.
at all.
It's not.
Is that what they put in their
There's-
parking signs?
That's where we put today, especially after.
Yeah.
None of this is, I don't think it's enough.
I mean, I think it's, am I wrong?
It's a
It's not.
It's a
safety
safety
thing.
thing.
Yeah, of course.
It shouldn't be-
And then, do you have any idea, what's behind the fence? What is that, that truck? Is it,
He runs an excavation.
that's Moon?
That's Moon. Yeah, sorry, I didn't know if you guys knew who Moon is.
No, but so there's an actual fence and it looks like it's secured.
Yeah, and he will bring out some of that equipment at times, those large
Huh.
things coming out of that,
Okay.
and like he even has fires one time, like he has this,
Yeah, I was back there and we had some open burning thing going on. I don't know what was
yeah,
going
open
on.
burning thing and it fell out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what if this fell on the gas? I was a little like, okay, are they being regulated? I don't know.
Well, and there should be fire lanes along that drive, I mean, it's kind of been a little bit of a, like we've said, free for all a few times, but when you kind of park past there and you dead end into, the county line there, there's no real turnaround. The road just kind of dead ends and then there's no fire lanes marked. There's nothing on that whole,
And I mean, we're a medical clinic, so I mean, and.
Yeah, at least get an ambulance back there,
And there are gyms that have ambulance needs, it's not safe, it's just not safe.
yeah.
Jim, I'll have our fire marshal take a look at it too.
Okay.
I'll let him go back and take a look at it, give his opinion.
But I mean, Dave, were you thinking of?
I'd make a motion requesting the solicitor to work with the building commissioner to maybe draft and develop some new parking and striping regulations for businesses in the village. Does that sound?
Yeah.
If it doesn't sound good, Ruth will clean it up.
Whatever it is, I'll second it.
Any other discussion or?
Just one thing, it seems to me that right now our parking requirements are based on square footage, right?
Correct.
I don't know that we want to go to a system where it's defined by how many employees a business has. That number can change over time, and we want parking available despite how many or when a new tenant comes in. And maybe they don't have as many employees, or they have more. So,
But the challenge we're having is parking it goes for customers and clients as well.
oh, it does, but right now we're saying, what, 6 per thousand? So,
Over 2,000,
but to change that from square footage to number of employees, I think creates an untenable situation. I mean, you guys have 5 people right now approximately at your space?
No, it's just the two of us right now.
Okay, so you might have 3 a year from now and 4, and the doctor may hire more staff, and the other doctor may hire more staff. So I don't know that the 1,000-foot thing is like the solution, but I'm pretty sure the employee count is not. So I'll offer that to Dave, Bridie, as they go along with their efforts.
I agree with you, Mark.
Yeah.
It's work. You gotta tie it to something
Yeah.
tangible.
And no one wants to build a parking deck, right? Just
Well,
saying, Chagrin has fought that for years and years.
One of those Carvana towers.
Yeah, ooh, well, there's an idea.
I mean, again, I think but that's why you have to come from a plan commission. I mean, we are supposed to, again, within our parking
Right.
scheme, we're supposed to evaluate each business and decide, what we think the needs are and what's realistic, because I think we've run into that before where it's like, well, wait a second, you're like, well, they meet our parking regulations, and we're like, okay, by the square footage they do, but we all know they don't.
That's my,
Yeah, so, okay. Okay, so that was moved and seconded. Any other further discussion? Roll call, please.
James Blake.
Yes.
Mark Porter.
Yes.
William Coontz.
Yes.
Elisa Rudolph.
Yes.
Greg Brooks.
Yes.
Okay. Any other new business or anything else?
Move to adjourn. Oh, unless Bill's got some.
A couple comments. First of all, thank you to the solicitor for providing us all the different community regulations. It gets us started. Thank you for the information you provided here. I didn't realize it's as bad as what it is down there at different times, and it was a chance to talk to other businesses. Ruth, thanks for getting everything out here as quickly as possible, and thank you all for being civil. I'm done.
Yeah, I think I got on planning commission in 2008. This is the most, what you gave us was the most comprehensive, packet I've ever received from an interested party, not from an applicant, from somebody who, so I did appreciate that too. Okay, so Mark made a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you.
you're still doing that?
Do we do microphones or not?
I think it's still on there too, so.
Should I give this to?
That'll do it.
I mean,
I know.
it looks like that out there. Dave, this should be striped too. It's going on. This morning, I'm like, everybody's parking out right away. I know.
Well, we do have shaded ones.
I love it. It's like, but it's a whole other, it's part of the application. I agree with you. I see everything except this one, so I think we're good.
Right. I hear you. 100%.